I believe that we need to plan ahead, and if there are government sectors, councils that are thinking about the future and well-being is a part of that plan, then I think integrating activations or things like the interactive healing environments as being part of their plan, then this should be a standard policy.
Kia ora, I'm Troy, here as Chief Executive, and welcome to Stirring the Pot. Thanks for connecting. If you're new, here's what you can expect. We're going to be talking the tough stuff, the things that keep us middle minds up at night. There are many challenges facing our industry and equally many opinions on how we should tackle them. Stirring the Pot provides a facilitated forum to discuss and challenge these viewpoints.
So let's get to the nuts and bolts of it. Today our kōrero is with Dr. Yvonne Chan Cashmore, the Associate Dean Engagement for Auckland University of Technology. She shares insights of her research on how IHEs not only improve individual health, but also promote social cohesion, cultural integration, and preserving ancient knowledge.
Can you start by giving us just an overview of interactive healing environments, what they are, and how you came upon this concept?
Mm-hmm. Sure thing. So interactive healing environments are specially designed spaces that can be within our cities, even in specific community or even work in corporate buildings. And they're aimed to enhance health and well-being. So they combine technologies, there's thoughtful design and natural elements to create multi-sensory experiences that help with that connection with oneself and engage via sight, sound and touch. So I believe these environments can help reduce stress, improve mental health and enhance the overall quality of life. So the thought is that by integrating these spaces into city planning as an example, this is where we're placing health and well-being at the forefront of urban living, and also for corporations or working environments to actively do something where their people can go to it, engage with it, and not only to have some time with themselves, but also to engage with others as well. Because there is an opportunity here where you can incorporate themes. And something that I think is really important, especially from a New Zealand context, is to maybe even incorporate Indigenous knowledge systems like Mātauranga Māori. But then, given that New Zealand, and especially in Auckland or in other the bigger cities, there are so many different cultures. And so to help with that community engagement and understanding and well-being, we could incorporate other Indigenous or cultural knowledge systems, such as Ayurveda from India, or shamanism and various other Asian healing practices. And these can really enrich the urban spaces and give a deeper cultural and ecological understanding, and highlighting that we are all interconnected as humanity. And through sharing that knowledge, will help encourage that cultural intelligence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, aligns really well with Te Whare Tapu-whā, the 4 aspects of well-being from a Te Ao Māori perspective. Really interesting. How did you come across this? What was the inspiration for you to get involved? Especially since you've got an interesting background, how did you take that previous research focus and apply it here?
Yeah, so I do come from a multicultural background. So my father is Chinese and my mother is Maltese, although I was born and bred in London. So I have grown up in a multicultural environment. And although I've seen a lot of transition and just things changing in, say, for example, even in my suburb that I grew up in, what I feel is really important is to and not lose our culture and traditions. So I had just a natural passion towards textiles and a very kind of ancient technique in woven textiles. And so my research has been in the past in the area of smart textiles. And so it's given the opportunity to use a traditional method in producing fabric, but then I was able to integrate materials and processes from other industries such as mechanical engineering to help evolve textiles and for it to be a part of our future and contemporary environments. So it's an interdisciplinary approach, combining processes that is not normally used when using a traditional technique. But it's a way of evolving a process with technologies as that evolves, and also humanity. So it's maintaining traditions and culture, but evolving it with our technologies and capabilities.
You mentioned previously around well-being and mental health. How do you think these environments can assist in terms of community well-being or even personal mental health?
Mm-hmm. I think nowadays it's more common that we realise that the social connectiveness of people really does help with people's well-being. And COVID is a really good prime example of that. There was a concern of the isolation, of the impact that it's had on people's well-being. So interactive healing environments gives an opportunity for people and different communities to come together, have a day out specifically to explore the city, visit one of these interactive healing environments where they can connect, to encourage people to connect with each other, to have conversations even, hopefully, about ancient knowledge through storytelling, doing active workshops, such as maybe even yoga or meditation, but even craft. People do like, especially the kids, they do like doing practical activities. So if there's a way to share creative, cultural workshops in a sense, and it's getting people out and about and engaging with each other, I feel as though that is a great way to enhance well-being in the community, as well as sharing knowledge and traditions.
Mm-hmm. And how do the communities get involved in terms specifically of your research project? How do you engage with communities in that process?
So depending on the theme, I think that's a key thing. I just recall when I was presenting the interactive healing environments concept recently at the 𝗬𝗃 Smart Cities event. And what I was approached with was the idea of when the council, as an example, has an initiative they want to gain feedback from the communities, these could be, the interactive healing environments could be a perfect way to get that community feedback. So if there's a theme on something like water safety, and how the community would like to know how they can gain that information. What is the significance of water? Why is it important that, in general, we connect with the water, not only from a fitness perspective, but for leisure? Water is such a healing, natural element, and people may understand how valuable it is just to connect with the water by sitting on the beach or even going for a swim. But then there is the danger, especially across New Zealand, of our seas being rather volatile. So they could be a way of showing the value of water, but also how you can be safe with water.
Mm-hmm.
So from an interactive healing environment perspective, I can foresee there being ways to engage with the water, hearing it, seeing it visually from a digital technologies activation, but then also there be information and storytelling of how it can be an avenue to connect and achieve well-being, but also provide the knowledge of how to keep safe, how you can find that information of, okay, when is the tide coming in maybe, even taking in elements of the moon phases. So when there is a full moon, a supermoon, then potentially the tides are higher, the currents are stronger. So it could be a way of integrating ancient knowledge of the moon cycles, as well as how will this affect the seas, as an example. What do you need to look out for? Where can you find the information to know that the seas are going to be unsafe at this particular times?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see a lot of potential there around integrating Mātauranga Māori, and particularly Kepa Morgan's work on the Mauri meter, how that might interact in terms of how well or healthy is the water itself as well. That's pretty interesting. Kind of crosses over with our Construction 4.0 project as well. Can you give us some case studies on where this has been used and what the impacts have been?
Mm-hmm. So far, interactive healing environments where they're more known as maybe multi-sensory experiences. And a lot of cities globally have created these activations as a way to promote their cities. But also there are hospitals that have also created these multi-sensory activations to uplift people's well-being, especially for, if you can imagine, if there are some long-term illnesses and patients need to stay in their hospital for some time. They've created these multi-sensory environments so that then there's a place for them to go outside from their bed when possible, and to help them even have a really nice activity with their loved ones and their visitors, and in general connecting with the communities that are visiting these hospital spaces. And then going back to the other concepts of promoting a city, this is again a way to communicate and share knowledge on, say for example, the country's culture, and a way for tourists to gain that knowledge and engage again with the local communities.
Yeah, my mind's ticking over. I think it would be really interesting to see how maybe we could incorporate this in the Innovation Centre, particularly as construction has such a high mental health concern as a sector. It would be really interesting.
Yeah.
What do you see as some of the policy settings that might facilitate broader adoption?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I believe that we need to plan ahead. And if there are government sectors, councils that are thinking about the future, and well-being is a part of that that plan, then I think that by integrating in activations or things like the interactive healing environments as being part of their plan, then this should be a standard policy that then can help create funding, or we make sure that there is allocated funding for communities to engage with each other, but in a way that is, again, gaining that cultural intelligence, is using technologies that people are, in a sense, expecting, because technology is evolving with us. But yeah, I just feel that if it is a policy that is ingrained as part of our wellbeing plan, then it makes it easier for these types of initiatives to happen, because getting them up and going without any budget or actually having to seek funding is really hard. And that's why we're actually not seeing them in New Zealand at the moment, I feel. They can be individual activations that an artist that has created them. But really I feel as though urban environments should have them within all their cities. There should be a place where communities can come together and they can be used as a way to gain community feedback. And so that then the communities feel like their voices are being heard, which it also contributes to the health and well-being of our communities, and they feel as though they are a part of their city.
Mm-hmm. And what do you see as the opportunity for cities to think strategically and engage or facilitate the creation of these environments? What would happen and what would that look like?
It would show that we care for our people is one thing. And I think doing that authentically is so important. And it's not just a tick box. So hence what I'm saying, when it comes to where there's a need to understand of how the community feels about a new initiative that the council or government bodies want to put forward. Getting that community feedback is so important. And from a point of view, from a strategic point of view, or from a commercial aspect, from a consideration of tourism, they would attract people to visit our cities and the country. And if New Zealand was at the forefront of creating these interactive healing environments, one, it would be a part of the New Zealand brand, if that's what we want to further take forward, that we care for our people, well-being, that's at the heart of what we do, not only from a personal perspective, but community and also workplace. Then that would highly promote New Zealand globally and at the forefront of it. And New Zealand, I've been thinking about this, there are so many initiatives that New Zealand has been at the forefront of. And then during COVID, as an example, we were looked at as doing, from a good practice. We were being people-centric. It was all about keeping our people safe. And I feel as though that type of brand we can take forward at a more deeper strategic level, and doing it with the connection and integration and knowledge from our people.
Mm-hmm. Where do you see interactive healing environments evolving to? What does the future look like? And what does the future of your research and practice look like in regards to them as well?
Mm-hmm. So I see them as, again, it's sharing our ancient knowledge and actually people understanding that we are actually one, because there will be so many similarities that will become more visible. And so those overlaps will then help with that cultural and social connectiveness. And that's what I'm trying to expose in my research through from a PhD level. So at the moment, there's a PhD study that's been undertaken and nearly coming to completion, which is showing ancient knowledge through the goddess and queens and their leadership characteristic qualities, and how this can be integrated to create a leadership framework. And so this is a fundamental research, because stemming from that, the next PhD study, which I'm hopeful is going to start, is actually looking at the priestess physician. And it's looking at 3 main ancient cultural civilizations, one Egypt, one Celtic, and the other, hopefully we're going to integrate Maori so Matarango Māori as well. And the idea is to show how these ancient healing practices do have overlaps, how they can also be integrated into a contemporary wellbeing health system and framework. So it's again that idea of not losing our ancient knowledge, integrating it into a contemporary environment and framework. And that's where I'm seeing this research, as well as interactive healing environments, going forward in the future.
So there you go. Thanks for joining our conversation with Yvonne today. If you'd like to connect more with her, you'll find her details in the show notes. This was a great discussion on the potential of IHEs to transform urban environments into more livable, resilient, and healthy habitats. It emphasises the need for strategic planning, collaboration, and innovative thinking in urban development, and how merging disciplines, cultures, and technologies to foster positive societal transformations is key for our built environment. Food for thought till we see you next time. So hit subscribe, and if you like what you heard today, please like, review, or share with any metal minds you know. Let's spread the word. If you're inspired by what you heard today about blending ancient wisdom and tech into urban design, why not test yourself even more? Come to our upcoming event, Tactics to Achieve Low Carbon Design for Steel and Steel Hybrid Commercial Buildings, and explore how you can incorporate sustainable low carbon approaches into your design thinking as well. This is your chance to learn how you can push the boundaries of design to shape a more thoughtful, sustainable, and resilient built environment in Aotearoa. You'll find details to register in the show notes.